Hey, and I'm up and recording. Hey, greetings everybody. Welcome to the Art Lexcia podcast. I'm your host, Wesley Pepper. This is episode 158. And before I get into my guest this morning, just remember that the Art Lexcia podcast is nominated for the APVA Awards 2024, which will be taking place on the 27th and the 28th of September. So look forward to that. I also have whether they call it the behind the mic, but that's on the 4th, and I think I'll be publishing this episode after that, so I guess it doesn't matter. But yeah, and thanks to everybody for all the voting and sharing of the stories and so forth. I appreciate every single one of you. And to all my new returning listeners, much love to everybody. Once again, I appreciate everyone, and especially my guests. Yeah, I think we have a bit of a broadband issue. So for now, I'm going to turn off my video so I can increase the broadband. But I've got a very cool guest, the very talented Khutjo Green. She's the co-director and actor, and she's also starring in the production called Katanga January 17th, which is currently, or not currently, which will be shown at the Markey Theater from the 7th to the 27th of September. So we're going to be talking everything about that. So let's get straight into it. Khutjo, first of all, my sister, good morning and welcome.
Morning, Wesley, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, man. Yes, it's my pleasure. So I see you're obviously quite busy these days, all over the show, which is excellent. So, yeah. So let's start, man. Tell us a little bit about the play. So, I know it's also co-directed by Lexcia, which is also one of my favorite writers, which is fantastic. So tell us a little bit about the play Katanga January the 17th. What's it about, and what's your involvement in it?
All right. Well, firstly, let me just sing and Bobby Rodwell are the writers of the show, of the play. And what Ntate Gang brings is his poetic, lyrical narrative. And Bobby Rodwell deals more with testimonials. So pretty much like verbatim theater and how you would approach verbatim theater. Katanga January 17. Oh yes, and it will be on at the market on the 7th, from the 7th until the 22nd of September. Yeah. And so the piece is about the very brutal and final moments of Patrice Lumumba, and it focuses around really the final days that he experienced as the Prime Minister of the DRC. And we deal a lot with the and imagined moments that he might have been going through as he was being assassinated. I mean, oftentimes, and not oftentimes, but it is suggested that he kind of his death coming. And we see this, or we hear about this, especially in the letter that he writes to his wife, Paulina Lumumba. He literally says that, I don't know whether, my dear wife, I don't know whether you're going to receive this letter or whether you have received it, but by the time you do receive it, I will have gone. So Katanga January 17 explores the ideologies that Patrice Lumumba had for the DRC, but unfortunately they were captured. Those ideologies were captured. Those ideologies were limited. Those ideologies were restricted, and so he goes on a poetic sort of lament, right, through the imaginings of the gang, and but then. Within that, there are branches of testimonial narratives that come in, because Bobby Rodwell, fortunately enough, managed to interview two of Patrice Lumumba's children, Roland Lumumba and Juliana Lumumba. Unfortunately, Juliana, she couldn't meet her in person.
Excuse me, Khutjo. Sorry, man. Not to break your word, my sister. My apologies for that. The connection the connection is still a bit scratchy, man. Is it possible you could turn off your video instead, just so that the audio can be a bit more audible?
No
And
problem.
and then
No
we can pick
problem.
it up from where you were talking about Bobby Radwell interviewing Patrice Lumumba's kids. So can we
Children.
just pick it up from there? Thank you.
Okay, fantastic. So I was saying that whilst Lesotho deals with the poetic narrative, what Bobby Rodwell managed to do was
Yeah.
have a sit down with Patrice Lumumba's children. Physically, she managed to sit down with Roland, but unfortunately, she couldn't sit with Juliana because she just felt that she was too fragile to be able to speak about it. But she gave Bobby license to take whatever she wanted to take from some of the interviews that are already on the net. And so we have their reflection and their recollection of who their father was, because I think oftentimes we just see these icons as icons. We don't think they are actual living human beings, that they had lives, that they had families, and so part of the piece as well tries to bring in the human side of Patrice Lumumba, and to say that outside of being a political figure, he was this man, he was this husband, he was this father. And then we have the child soldier as well, and because of his assassination, these are the ramifications of what Congo then experienced, and the surrounding countries as well. It wasn't just Congo that suffered. So we have a child soldier as well who recounts when heard that Patrice was assassinated, what then the Mai and all the other forces and troops did thereafter, and how he was recruited. And it's such a harrowing story to listen to. And then finally we have, and Bobby and Tate Lesotho like to say that we have the third writer, who is Patrice Lumumba, and this is through his letter to his wife.
Wow. Wow,
Yeah.
lots to unpack there. And just for my
Yeah.
listeners, yeah, man, there's still a broadband issue. That's why Khutjo's video is currently off. So I hope the audio is pretty good. Besides, I'll be tweaking it before I publish. Anyway, Khutjo, just to move back into the interviews, tell us a little bit about that, man. When Bobby interviewed these guys, that must have been a hell of an emotional experience. So I guess my question is like what themes, what elements did you take from those interviews, and what is portrayed in the play? What side of Patrice is portrayed in the play?
Yeah, so part of our our thematic umbrella is war and water, water and war, because oftentimes his children spoke a lot about, one, you do not choose where to be born, right? And two, they identified themselves as the children of war. So I must say that this is not a comfortable play. Like, we get right in with it. The child soldier catapults us right into the heart of the war and into DRC. And then thereafter, we start unpacking and unraveling Patrice Lumumba's narrative. But they're all interconnected. They all come out of one source, which is the assassination, which is January 17, 1961. When Patrice was assassinated. So that's basically the things that we are dealing with, this idea of water and war. And I mean, currently right now, there is a looming sort of imminent danger towards the resource of water. Like, so the Congo River, I mean, underneath the bed, like by the bed, there's a lot of minerals and oils and stuff. So that is the next kind of war that they are about to experience in the next couple of years.
Yeah,
So that idea of the resources and how, the Belgians, I mean, all of this started in 1884, right?
yeah,
At the Berlin
yeah.
Conference.
The Berlin Conference. Yeah,
And when you read up about that history and about the intended looting, that was at that table. It was orchestrated to such damaging and such catastrophic levels, right? Because thereafter you have the divisions, you have the borders, you have because that's Berlin 1884, that conference is what created the borders in Africa. When people could say, no, I will have this part of Africa, I will have that part, you can have that part, you can have that part, and so and part of the question that we have in this piece is, where's the hope? Where's the hope? And I think it's so poignant what Juliana says. She says, every death is a renaissance. Every hope is a renaissance. We have hope, and every breath is a renaissance. So the revolution does continue. The fight does continue, and we can only hope that we will get better, and that Lumumba's legacy and Lumumba's Pan-African destiny and his ideals will come forward, will be manifest.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. That's incredible. And I mean incredible in the sense of like keeping Lumumba's legacy alive, which is something that I'm also quite passionate about, since this platform is also for Pan-Africanism and art, of course. But I try to focus a lot on art around the Pan-Africanism narrative. So that is awesome. Tell us a little bit more about the cast and your role. I know you also in the play, and you also co-directing. So I guess I don't know, we want to start with the directing or for the actual cast for the acting.
So my first meeting with Bobby, she had asked me if I would be, because the way that the narrative is set, it's set in five movements actually.
Yeah.
Essentially like, and so each of those movements had a director, and unfortunately we had a
Hello? Khutjo, you're just breaking up there, my sister.
coming from Congo, and they were denied
excuse me, Khutjo, you just broke up there a little bit. Can you just start from the beginning? Sorry, man. That old, but was actually broken up.
No worries. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. So I was saying that the way that the narrative is designed, it's in four movements, and each of them had a director. We had a player from the Congo who was unfortunately denied a visa, and so we had to then adapt, and it ended up in Bobby co-directing. So yeah, I want co-directors, and I am part of a beautiful cast of three other men, Charlie Ze and Billy Langa and Nji Elaine. And the four of us basically carry, the narrative. And Charlie predominantly plays Lumumba, and Nji, myself, and Billy kind of play multiple characters.
Okay. I know that the play is written in three languages, English, Swahili, and French. Tell us a little bit about that. So was that challenging? And given that South African audience is predominantly, well, not necessarily English, but you understand, Swahili and French is not a big language in here. So how do you sort of balance that? So will the audience, be able to understand what the actors are saying?
Definitely. So we found ways and motifs to try and bring in translations, but so the things that we believe are really, really important to hear and to understand. The medium of language is English, but predominantly Patrice does speak in Lingala and French, and then we have Nji speaking more in French, just to represent also the Belgians and that kind of executionary element of Patrice's assassination. And then Billy kind of he speaks Bembe and what is the other language? He speaks Bembe. Yes, he speaks Bembe. And then I have also taken upon myself to learn some French. So so I'll be speaking French and English. What a mammoth task. Yeah, but anyways, it's going to be great. I think it's going to be great. So yes, we speak French, English, Lingala, and Bembe.
What language is Bembe? I've never heard of that one before. From where is it? And is it another hybrid type of language?
So it's a dialect. It's a dialect from the DRC,
Oh, okay.
East DRC.
Is
Yes,
it a
yes.
more colloquial type of dialect? Was it a formal, like an official language
No,
that
no,
side?
no.
It's just for interest sake, of course.
It's more tribal. It's a
Ah,
tribal.
ah,
Yeah, yeah. The Kiswahili obviously is more well known, but then Bembe is more tribal.
okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, fantastic, man. You were saying there about playing multiple or you playing multiple characters. Can you tell us a little bit about that? What characters are you playing?
So I play one of the gentlemen that was assassinated along with Patrice. So Patrice didn't die alone. He died with two other
Yeah,
men, Mbolo and Joseph Akito. So I played Mbolo, and then Billy plays Joseph Akito. I also play Juliana Lumumba, and then I play Paulina Lumumba.
sure.
Yeah.
Yes, just a question that I'm always fascinated to or interested to know about actors. If you're getting into these multiple roles, and these are serious players that dealt with uh, with with serious issues. That mindset of of being in that person's or playing that person's character. Tell us a little bit about that process, man. About the emotional attachment you have to the character and how you're trying to portray them or how you are portraying them.
So part of the testimonials, which is one of my favorite forms of theater. So verbatim theater it has got such a special place in my heart. And so part of the research one does is watch as much as possible in terms of the physical mannerisms and idiosyncrasies that the person you're playing has. If you don't have the opportunity to be able to meet them in person, then you research as much as possible and you watch as many interviews so that you understand how they use their hands, how they use their lips, how they use their heads, right? And what then that creates, even if you're dealing with very heavy content, you're able to distance, right? Because you have assumed and you have taken on someone's mannerisms. But
Yeah,
however, that does not mean that you will not be affected emotionally. I mean, just in the readings that we had, as soon as I hit Juliana Lumumba's parts, I got emotional. I literally
I can
cried.
understand.
Um, and, and that's because, like, on a human level, we connect,
Yeah,
regardless of whether I've lost my father, but I understand the idea of loss, right? And so this is why it's so powerful, or why we have such a huge responsibility as performers, because we can connect at that level with other humans and with their stories, because fundamentally what we do understand is loss. So
yeah,
so so important to understand in your process that you are assuming, you are borrowing your body essentially, at the service of this narrative, this story, this character. It's not always easy. There isn't a formula of how to and how not to.
sure.
It's just the needing to be responsible in order to be able to debrief. And I think we don't teach that enough in institutions, that
Sure.
just the importance of being able to debrief, the importance of being able to let go, the importance of understanding that you're stepping into something which you're going to have to step out of.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my process when it comes to
That's
testimonial
incredible.
documentary. Yeah.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Thanks for that. Just another question. Just to explain to us, for those that don't know, what exactly is verbatim theater?
Verbatim theater is testimonial theater. So the writer would have gone and interviewed the participants or the candidates, and in your writing, you don't change a single thing. So you include the cough, you include the sigh, you include
Okay.
every single
Okay. Okay.
speech pattern
Yeah. Yeah.
along with their words, So you
Yeah.
include the pause. If they paused for a while, you include that in your writing. You do not
Okay.
embellish. You do not impose your own ways of how the story should unfold. It's their story, so it's very important to honor their story.
Yeah, it makes
And I
sense.
don't know, I don't know if you watched The Line
Yeah.
by Gina Schmuckler about the
Yeah.
xenophobic attacks.
Yeah.
That's verbatim theater. Yeah.
Excellent. Good example.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and the way you put it, like putting it in this historical context, makes complete sense. Just one last question on the actual production of the play. Since you are a co-director and you're an actor, just explain to us that process. How does that work? It sounds from an outsider quite overwhelming.
It is, Wesley. Oh my gosh. Oh my word. Oh my goodness. I've been stressing. I've been yo, yo. It's quite a mountain to climb.
Yeah, I can
Um, it hasn't been easy. It has been very, very challenging and taxing, and both emotionally and mentally, right? Because the director in me has to access the mental capacity and the actor, both physical and mental. Um, but I think we're in a good place where we are right now before we open doors next week.
Yeah, next
And
week.
but really been rewarding and fulfilling as well, just being on the inside and on the outside. There's a particular perspective that you get when you're on the outside, you see a lot more. You take in a lot more. You're able to expand and expound and stretch those that are on the inside. But what I've been finding very difficult is, so I've been having my stage manager come in and step in for me, but then because I haven't really rehearsed what he's been doing, and I've just been giving him like action. When I step in, I'm like, where do I go, guys? What's happening? I kind of forgot, So, but we've been working in such a way that if we said something, then I go in just to remind myself how I'm moving in the space and how I'm moving in that scene, and then I step out again, and so I've been alternating in those ways.
That sounds incredibly disciplined, like such a disciplined process. It always reminds me of I know that like with these NASA astronauts when they get back to Earth, coming from outer space, they can't just walk back into Earth. They got to this whole process of they've got to get rid of the air pressure and so forth. It sounds
Yeah.
similar
The
that you've got to
reoccurring,
keep
you
going
know.
through these processes in and out. Just explain to us a little about that. Is it a very physical thing on you? Does it physically impact you? And just explain to us just briefly, like how does your creativity sort of balance everything? And do you have any other tools that you use to balance everything?
Yeah, so I mean, I will say that from the onset, music is what anchors me. Music is what balances me. Music gives me such clarity as well. So I'm kind of an immersive artist that for a period of time, all I will consume is just content from, let's say, Congo, for example. That's exactly what I've been
Sure.
doing. So um I've been watching a lot of documentaries around Patrice Lumumba. I've been watching a lot of documentaries around Congo and the war of Africa, just in general, just to understand, the interconnectedness of
Yes, I.
every single country
Yeah,
that
man.
composes Africa. And thereafter, it's really, I suppose it's that word that you just used, like discipline. I just need to also remind myself that it's work. It's work. It's a job. In which I'm, endeavoring into. So, I don't really have. Yes, it's physically taxing, but I don't feel drained, right?
I hear you.
Because rehearsals also because we warm up, because we're busy running around, finding things, doing this and
Yeah, man.
that. The body does get tired, but it's also very good. And I remind myself, when I come home, just to debrief, just to relax, just to, step out, step
Mm.
out. So I haven't, yes, it's overwhelming, but it isn't overwhelming to the point of, pushing me
I
to
hear you.
mental institution. Yeah.
No, no, if that was the case, I think we'd have all been in a loony bin long ago already. I think art would primarily exist in a loony bin, and we all know that's not the case. That's fantastic, my sister. That is fantastic. Thanks for sharing that with us. Yeah, just explain to us about the dates and if any of my listeners want to get tickets and so forth, where and do they go about doing that?
So we have a preview on the 7th of September at 7 o'clock, and then we open on the 8th until the 22nd of September. Tickets can be bought on web tickets or at door at the Markey Theater, but we do encourage that they be bought via web tickets. And
Hello. She just went quiet there. Just bear with me quickly. Khutjo, are you there? Okay, just I think the sound is off. Okay, you back?
yes,
Okay, yeah, man. You just broke up there when you were talking about the web tickets and where else can they get tickets to the show?
cool. So should I? So we have a preview on the 7th of September at 7 o'clock, and then we open our doors officially on Sunday the 8th until the 22nd
Yeah.
of September, and we can get
September.
tickets from web tickets or we can buy at the door, but we do encourage that we buy our tickets on web tickets.
I'll do that. And to my listeners, I'll be adding all that details in the description
Wonderful.
below for web tickets in particular. Are there any matinee shows that you'll be having?
Um, they will be on Sundays, yeah, 3 o'clock.
Okay. Okay.
Sundays, 3 o'clock, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, man. And in wrapping up, if my listeners want to view any of your previous work, I know you've been all over a lot of productions, a lot of TV, a lot of movies, and so forth. Where can they view or see any of your other work? So, is there any platforms and so forth, or social media handles that you can share with us? Okay, so there's a bit of a delay again in broadcasts. Yeah, people just bear with us. These things happen.
Please.
Khutjo, unfortunately, again, my sister, there was a bit of a broadcast thingy there. I think I'll just turn off my video.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just asking about where else can people view any of your work. So if you can give any like websites, social media handles, and so forth.
Yeah. So my Instagram handle is Green Life Shots, #Green Life Shots. Facebook, Khutjo Green, TikTok, Green, and yeah,
Read live shots, I like that.
website.
No, no, that's lovely, man. Yeah, Kujo, thanks, man. Thanks for all of that. I think the broadband or the lack of broadband is actually making, yeah, it's making recording a bit tricky, but I'll try to fix it as as best that I can before I put it out. I'll publish this episode in not next week, but the week thereafter. So in about 14 days. So I'm actually just before the 7th. I'll definitely make sure it's up and live before that. And I'll also chop up the episodes into shorts and I'll be promoting that as well. And I'll do that during the productions run at the Markey Theater. And to all my listeners, yeah, man, thank you guys. If you got any value out of this content, remember to smash that like and subscribe button. And many thanks, Khutjo, man. Thanks for coming through, my sister. It sounds, thanks for sharing your processes. That was actually quite cool. Is there any parting shots that you have that you want to say about the production?
About the production, oh, Patrice Lumumba's final words, he says, and to my people, I have no past. I'm just an icon. And that breaks me so, so much. And yeah, I think if only as we move into the future, can see each other as humans.
That's a beautiful, beautiful way of ending everything. That's incredible. Geez, I even got a little of
Yeah.
a, what do they call it? My skin is reacting to what you that was incredible. My sister, thank you very much, man, for all of that. I'll definitely, like I said, I'll push this episode in about a week and a half's time. All the best for the production, and I will let you guys. I'll let you know as soon as the episode goes live. So all the best and good luck. It's still nice and early in South Africa, so you got still a full day. So have a good day as well.
Thank you so much, Wesley. Thank you for having me. And I can't wait to see you at the theater.
Yes, yes, we'll make that happen. All right, so take care and we'll keep in touch, no?
Alrighty.
All right, man. One love. Take care. Bye.